opportunity to see what's going on in this part of the state, and I want to tell you that I am very pleasantly surprised at the degree of cooperation that I see taking place. And that's what is important, I think, in our state, especially when it comes to the education of our children and our young people. The cooperation that has been exhibited here between the Wiregrass Technical College and Valdosta State University, I think is the kind of model that I hope we will see replicated throughout the state of Georgia. We do know that we can get more for our money if we all work cooperatively together, and certainly I believe that this area demonstrates that superbly, and I want to congratulate all of those who are part of that. And I just had a great time visiting today, so I'll be glad to try to respond to any questions that you might have.
Governor, quick question. I understand that you've toured a few of our facilities. While visiting cities like Valdosta, what are some of the things that you've learned?
Well, I think, you know, we hear a lot about the metropolitan Atlanta area, and sometimes we don't hear enough about the other great parts of the state of Georgia. And certainly Valdosta is sort of a core of this part of the state, and to see that you're making progress and that this higher institution of learning is having such great success in terms of growth, in terms of the expansion of educational opportunities, that speaks well for a part of the state that sometimes does not receive the attention that other parts do. And I'm just pleased to be able to be an ambassador who will tell your story to the rest of the state.
Do you hope to put some pressure on the legislature to make sure this building or a new building for all the nursing that gets built by the hospital?
Well, I told them sort of in a joking fashion, I said they have tried every lobbying technique I have seen, and I'll abbreviate it for you here just briefly. They've shown me the economic advantages of that, and I certainly think they're great. They've shown me that it is a collaborative effort between the technical college and the university system. I told them they had taken the formality, though, and when I visited over there, they showed me this small little room. They see how cramped we are. I accused them of turning the air conditioner off too, by the way. But I want to tell you it works. I understand the need for the building, and I hope you will be pleased when those recommendations move forward in the legislative budget process. I think it is certainly one of those areas where we deserve to put as much attention to it as we can, and certainly working with the chancellor of the university system, hopefully we will achieve some good results in that regard.
Governor Deal, my name is Catherine Grant. I'm a student here at Valdosta State University. I'm interested to find out why you chose to appoint Phil Kent to the Immigration Review Board, I believe it is. He is a member of two organizations, Americans for Immigration Control and American Immigration Control Foundation, both, as I'm sure you've heard, have been listed as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Could you elaborate a little bit, perhaps,
well, first of all, I think Mr. Kent is certainly a qualified appointee. I think there's a misunderstanding about what this board does. They don't determine anybody's immigration status. It is a portion of the piece of legislation that is immigration reform in our state. It has passed the review of the federal courts. It has not been sought to be enjoined by the United States Justice Department as they have sought in some other state laws. It is simply a board to make sure that the use of the E-Verify system by municipalities and by local governments are being followed. And I think that is his responsibility as a member of that board, and I think he is eminently qualified to do it.
How do you address the concerns that farmers have that maybe they are losing out on business because they can't get the immigrants that came here and come on the street?
Well, certainly the concern that we have for the immigration issue as it affects the farming industry is certainly one of those that was addressed in the legislation. And I know the farming community here in this part of the state, as they are all over the state, are working with the Commission of Agriculture to fulfill part of that immigration reform law, and that is to document the number of individuals who might be needed in a guest worker program. I think it's the first effort by any state to try to give the kind of statistical data to the United States Congress to justify their taking action on a guest worker program that is affordable and workable for industries such as the agricultural community in our state. Ultimately, the granting of a guest worker program is going to be the responsibility of Congress. And I think in that regard, hopefully we will provide them with the kind of documentation that they need maybe convince Congress to take some action in that important area.
How do you feel about the UGA professors outside of the state going and actually teaching out?
I'm not quite sure about it.
The UGA professors are sitting up kind of school the freedom for teaching illegal immigrants after the states that they're not allowed to go against state protocols.
Well, as long as they follow the law, and I have no problem with that. I think if you will check, there has been federal policy for quite a while that taxpayer money should not be used to grant preferential treatment to people who are illegally in this country. And of course, that is a policy that has been adopted not only at our state level within our university system, but it is a policy that is ingrained in federal statute. So what people do on their own time, in their own way, I think is certainly something that they have a choice about. But in terms of use of taxpayer money, it's a different issue. Yes, ma'am.
Based on the 2% budget cut, what are you going to do to maintain the university system of Georgia?
What am I going to do to maintain the university system of Georgia? Well, as you may know, that is sort of a lump sum allocation through the budget process, and they determine how they allocate that within the university system. I think all of us understand we're still in rather difficult economic times, although the good news is for the state of Georgia's revenue, it has been on an uptick, and we are hopeful that that will continue. I think the 2% that we have requested major agencies to reduce their expenditures in that regard, I think the university system has demonstrated that they can do that appropriately without impacting the education of the students that they're charged to educate.
Can you comment on the senior student here at VSU? Myself and several students have questions about the presidential search committee. Our concerns are that there's not unilateral representation of the G.B.R. It seems as if there is this business model of education that is continuing to be enacted here on campus. A lot of the students would like to see a more progressive president in the next coming year. Can you respond to that?
Well, I guess my most appropriate response is that is not something that the governor's office has a say-so about. As you know, constitutionally, the Board of Regents has delegated responsibilities for our college and university system, and those comments are most appropriately directed to the Board of Regents and to the Chancellor, and I'm sure that they would be willing to entertain and listen to your concerns. I try not to impose anything from the governor's office on them because I don't think that's the responsibility of the executive branch of government. They are constitutionally designated as having those responsibilities within their own organization.
Last question.
Okay, I was just going to talk about the unemployment rate. We're at 10.2%. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we have still had a rather high unemployment rate that exceeds the national average, and that is regrettable. We are working diligently to try to bring jobs to our state. We're doing it in rather small increments sometimes. We just had an announcement, I think, of 50 jobs, for example, in Statesboro. We had an announcement the week before of Lowe's building a new facility in the Rome, Georgia area that will employ about 600 people. We're gradually working our way to eat away at that. And we have some major prospects that are in the wings, and we're hopeful that they will bring a significant number of jobs to our state. What has happened in the state of Georgia is we were growing very fast. In fact, if you look at the statistics from the latest census of last year, Georgia grew by about 18.3% over the last 10 years. That sparked a housing boom and a building boom. And when the economy turned around, we saw many of those people that were working in that construction industry, suddenly they had no jobs. And it's very difficult to replace them into other jobs simply because construction hasn't come back. I think the good news, as I indicated earlier, is that our revenue is on an uptick and an increase. And so some good things are happening in terms of revenue, and we're hopeful that jobs will be the ones that return as quickly as possible. Thank y'all all very much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
As you noticed, there was very limited questions. It amazed me how I didn't see one. I'm sorry, I did not see one African American on the staff of the governor. Believe me, I was looking to see if there was any blacks in his entourage. I did not see not one. I did not see one person there. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Good.